What's going on, everybody? Author Stephen Walton here. Wanted to give you another update on the Fandom Menace Volume 1. For those of you that haven't, that are backers of the Fandom Menace Volume 1, go to Indiegogo. I have left an update as to what's going on there, but I'm going to give a more in-depth explanation as to everything that's going on right now, because I believe it's my responsibility to, for a couple of reasons. One of those reasons is I value every customer. We are in a consumer movement. Everybody that's working in the independent sphere, comics or graphic novels or books, or anybody that's making independent work, is doing so because the industry is left us behind. So as this is a consumer movement, I am speaking to you, the consumer of the Fandom Menace Volume 1. So the update stands at this, generally. I have had to rework the entire manuscript for the first edition of the Fandom Menace Volume 1. I've spent the last 2 weeks doing this, most heavily in the last week. I've hardly gotten any sleep. I've been just working tirelessly to make sure that I produce the best product I can for you. The reason for this is that the first test print that was sent to me had to be rejected. Had to be rejected for a lot of different reasons, many of which I've tried not to speak about. On Twitter, just a couple of weeks ago, I announced that I'd fired my editor, Mike Rogers. I've tried desperately over the last couple of weeks since then to cite creative differences as the reason. Really, I don't really have any time for controversies or drama, but people love drama. Not only people like drama, but they like to live in drama, create drama, sustain drama, from all directions. I mean, in the end, that's really why the independent sphere is as big as it is because you've got all of these different professionals who have tried to work in the industry, or independent creators who have tried to work in the industry, and they've been drummed out because of harassment, because of socio-political motivations. A lot of it has to do with SJWs, which is why the Fandom Menace exists, why Comicsgate exists, and it's why a myriad of other independent creators exist. They just want to produce something for the customer, something of quality, without having to deal with harassment, coercion, shame, and so forth. That's what I've tried to do. Unfortunately, due to my mistakes, and I say my mistakes because ultimately I'm responsible for my own work, my creation, my intellectual property. The mistakes that I have made have led me to where I am now. As of right now, I should be receiving books and sending them out to backers. That's how I feel. That's where I feel I should be at this moment. Unfortunately, I'm not at that point. I have had to go all the way back to stage 2, stage 3 of the process. This is because the work that it was submitted was very subpar. It was not good. And not only was it not good, but there were things injected into it that I did not want put there, through some pictures and tweets, things that I had never wanted to be associated with the Fandom Menace Volume 1 or any of the Fandom Menace volumes. They were placed there by my former editor. One of these things was the mention of Anna, that Star Wars girl's late sister. A tweet by the Disney critic, which, shown here, was placed in the book that mentions her, and I did not want that in the book. I did not want that mentioned in the book. I was not going to write about it. I was not going to put it in any chapters. Not without that family's permission did I want to talk about it. Now, the fact that the community came together to support Anna during that difficult time was a beautiful thing, and it's something that I really wish I could write about. I think it was a profound moment in many different regards. It exposed SJWs as the heartless people that they are. It exposed the woke Disney fandom as the hypocrites and the terrible, toxic people that they are. It also showed that the Fandom Menace and others that orbit the Fandom Menace community, how supportive and loving we are, and how the whole community came together during that whole time. So I really do wish I could write about that. I've spoken with Anna about that. She doesn't want that talked about. She doesn't want it discussed. You know, I mean, to her credit, I mean, to her family, they just want to leave that difficult time in their life behind. And I support that. This book is about bringing the communities together. It's about bringing the Fandom Menace together. It's about telling people about who we are, what we've stood for, and what we've been through. But most especially, this project, this book, my work, is highlighting our community. It's supposed to be about it. It's supposed to be about bringing everyone together. So I'm not going to write about anything or place anything in there that's going to cause division or make anyone feel excluded or exploited. I'm not going to do that. That's been my goal from the beginning. It's been my goal since I came on YouTube and started being a YouTuber, was not to be expectant of other people, not expect sub pushes, not expect people to have me on to boost my channel, to boost my brand. I do that myself. A lot of this project, the inspiration for this project, comes from the work of people like Richard Meyer and Ethan Van Sciver. People who built YouTube channels, who are good in their own right, and with Ethan, a professional in his own right, who built their own YouTube channels, built their own advertising network, helped to promote other people, and then sold their work. And I've tried to live by that model. I've also tried to live by the model of not expecting anyone else, not defaming anyone else, doing everything that I can to do this on my own. I need to do it on my own. So that tweet, that by the Disney critic, that was in the book, and that couldn't be there. And other things that were in this book were a chapters list of the dedication as a chapter, the foreword is a chapter, the list of recommended channels is a chapter. So many different things. You know, it was like a chapter of 10, 11 chapters, when in reality there's only 6 chapters in this book, which I didn't really like. I wanted to have more chapters in this book, but there's so much information in those 6 chapters that anything more would really be pressing too much, I think, onto the reader. I mean, any new reader that might come in and want to understand what the Fandom Menace is, you can understand where we come from that book. This is the preface to a series. So that, 6 chapters is enough. And speaking of that, the Fandom Menace Volume 1 First Edition will have an extra chapter in it. One of the things that I said from the outset was that I wanted the first edition of the Fandom Menace Volume 1 to be a collector's item. Well, the 204 people who bought this book, or the 204 backers that bought this book, are going to be receiving a print of a paperback that will never be produced again. And I don't mean the Fandom Menace Volume 1, I mean the first edition of the Fandom Menace Volume 1. It's going to have an extra chapter in it that will not be produced in further editions of the Fandom Menace Volume 1. It's a chapter that will be in another volume down the road, but the reason that I'm doing that is because as I have been working on reformatting, editing, all of the things that I paid money to have done that I did not receive, for services I did not receive. Since I've been doing that, I've also been working on the second edition, and I have created a PDF, unpolished PDF for the second edition of the Fandom Menace Volume 1, and any backer of this book, go to the Indiegogo page, you send me an email with your backer number and your name, and I will send you that PDF of the Fandom Menace Volume 1 Second Edition. It's unpolished, but the body of the work is there. So you will be able to read the entire book before you get the paperback in your hands, and then when you get the first edition paperback, it will have an extra chapter that no one has read, that will be completely isolated until it comes out in a later volume. I want to make sure that this is a collector's edition for every backer, that it increases in value over time, that your investment was worth it. This is both an apology and an appreciation to all of my customers. Thank you so much. And I'm sorry that you don't have a book in your hands right now. I really wanted to get this book out by Rise of Skywalker. And I think even if everything had happened perfectly, if every step of this process had been just perfectly executed, I still don't think I would have met that. But it was a goal that I placed for myself. because I thought that it was important. You know, I try and set goals when I'm performing these types of jobs. So at this point, that is the best that I can do for you at this moment. There is a Fandom Menace Volume 1 out there available for purchase as of right now. It is not the first edition, and it will not be the second edition paperback or hardback. And I will get to that at the end of this video. And that's another reason why I am offering the free PDF of the unpolished Fandom Menace Volume 1 second edition to the backers, so that they have a chance to read it, you know, at the same time as everyone else or before anyone else. So the reason that this has been delayed has had to do with formatting and editing issues that I've had to go back and do. This is because I paid a man whom I started working with back in July. By working with, I mean my editor, Mike Rogers. Some of you know who he is, some of you don't. Those of you that have been contacted by him in the last couple of weeks definitely know who he is and his version of what's going on. And it is because of that that I've decided to come forward and admit everything that has happened over the last few months, and especially in the last few weeks, and the reason why I have had to basically do all of the work that I paid someone to do, and I do not have access to. So not only do I not have access to the work that I paid to have done from this person, but I have to do all the work that I should have done myself in the first place, and that's my responsibility. I should have known. There were some red flags. There were a few things that came up over the last few months that I didn't catch, that I should have, that in hindsight I should have, and that's my responsibility. I take full responsibility for it. This is my book. This is my work. This is my IP. It's my responsibility. One of those red flags that I should have noticed came in the form of a legal threat that was made on my behalf without my consent by Mike Rogers, posing as a legal representative of both my work and myself. No consent given. Mike Rogers is the editor. He was an editor. He was paid to be an editor. I, for a time, allowed him to use the title of co-author as an honorary title because of all the work that I thought he was putting into this on my behalf, on the community's behalf. But he has admitted several times, over several different forums, on video, written, that this work was written by me, constructed by me. He is simply a tailor of my words. He is simply the editor. And so really you can find that on several different channels and several different occasions, him admitting that. And that's really what it was. Unfortunately, he was a shit tailor. For me, in my experience, he was a shit tailor, because I've had to completely gut everything that he's done and redo it. Back in August, I was about to give up on my GoFundMe. My GoFundMe that I started for production costs. And Jeremy Griggs of Geeks and Gamers was good enough to have me come on his channel and promote it at the last minute, right before I was about to give up. And that was a beautiful thing. I can't thank Jeremy enough for that. I try not to be expectant of other people. Jeremy offered that to me. He thought I was going to ask him. I remember the phone conversation. He thought I was going to ask him, and then you know, I said to him, "No, I don't want to be one of those people. I don't want to." You know, understand this. You know, my inspiration for writing this book comes from people like Ethan and Jeff and Jeremy and Midnight's Edge and Doomcock and Gary and you know, and so many different people. That Star Wars girl, Mecca, Jesse Milestone. Like, you know, there's a lot of people inspired me to make to create this work. And I've seen, as I have been documenting and listening to the community before I started really becoming a YouTuber myself, that, you know, some people can get jealous. Some people can be very expectant, you know, and I don't want to be that person. So when I talk to these people, I'm not being expectant. You know, I want friendship more than anything else. You know, and if any of you are watching, you know, it's great to come on your channels or to have you come over and do videos with me. You know, like, I love doing that, and I appreciate it. I don't expect it. God's honest truth, you know, I'd rather have you as a person that I could talk to on the phone, get advice from, that, you know, be a friend than anything else. So when Jeremy had me on Geeks and Gamers, I invited Mike on with me because he was my editor. He was tailoring my work. And so we went on there and we had a video, and it was a great video. And if you guys haven't seen it, go check it out. It was the very first time I was ever on a live stream, so I was so buttoned up and tight. Um, but it was a great experience. And just after that, uh, I think maybe you all remember Marianetta Isanova um, was caught gathering a hate mob on Facebook to go to Twitter to harass various members of the Fandom Menace community. This happened within days after that video came out. There's no correlation to it that I can understand if maybe she saw that video, but she never made mention of a book in any of her tweets or the Facebook post or anything like that. I think she was going after Stephen Wayne Art is what she was going after. Several days after that, Mike H.M. Rogers decided that for some reason this was a coordinated attack against my book. And so he, acting without my consent as a legal representative of me and my book, sent threatening emails to Marietta and continued to harass the 501st online and through emails without my consent or approval. So while he was in the midst of doing this, he also got it in his head. Well, the reason that, to my understanding, his reason for doing this is that he thought there was some kind of backroom deal going on that involved money. So his reason for doing this was because he believed that there were some kind of backroom deals going on, that he, as the owner of my work, the representative of my work, we'll get into that later, the representative of my work, he as the representative was being cut out of money, that some deal had been made. He, in private, he had mentioned that Geeks and Gamers was also involved, that all of these different YouTubers and personalities and Stephen Wayne Art got together with the 501st and made some kind of a deal involving money that he was being cut out of. I don't know where this idea came from, but this was in his head. I would like to make a statement right now. If Marietta happens to be watching this, if anyone from the 501st happens to be watching this, I have no issue with you. I am not seeking any kind of damages for anything from you. The 501st is a charity organization that I respect. You guys do some beautiful things. I love what you do. I even have written, and I've documented one or two of the things that you have done that I thought was especially touching, and have put it in a chapter and plan on highlighting that later on in these volumes, because I think that the 501st and the work that they do is wonderful. So if anyone, for any reason, has contacted you with any kind of a threat, or with any kind of extortion, anything at all that has to do with the Fandom Menace volumes, my property, my work, then they are misrepresenting themselves. All right? Sorry, didn't have anything to do with that. May the force be with you. God bless the 501st. When my Indiegogo closed, it was very happy, very exciting time. You know, I was trying to build my YouTube channel at the time, and for the last couple of months, I was trying to build my brand, build my advertising branch. You know, it was kind of the unspoken deal between Mike and myself, my editor, and me, the author, was that I would build the advertising branch. I would spend my time writing, flow writing, getting, you know, working on the Rise of Skywalker chapter, the events leading up to and after the Rise of Skywalker for a later volume, and other things that I was still working on, and my YouTube channel, which I plan to use as an advertising channel, just like many other independent creators do. and he would be tailoring my words. Like that was kind of that was the agreement, that we had. And on December 9th, I sent Mike his payment for the editing work he had done. I had also sent him money out of my GoFundMe. So altogether, and I have receipts, altogether, I have given him $1,750 for his work editing the Fandom Menace Volume 1. Work that I have not received, or quality that I have not received, that is being withheld from using, and so I've just basically scrapped it, and that's why I'm redoing the book entirely. A few weeks after that, he let me know that the print was going to be sent to me, the test print for the Fandom Menace Volume 1. I mean, I had complete trust in this person. I had paid him monies. I had seen previous versions of this book that, I had some questions about, such as the chapter list and the fact that for some reason Mike had structured my work so that there were no paragraphs. Like much of the book was a single sentence, blank space, single sentence, kind of like eating a sandwich with no filler. That's not how I write. I'm a science fiction writer. I write in paragraphs. That's my style. I know that he's a contributor of Bleeding Fool, so maybe that experience working on a website had him look at this text in a different way. But I didn't entirely agree with that. But I allowed it to go forward because I was relying on his experience. Again, my mistake, my fault ultimately. What I did not expect when I received the final test print was that all over this book, he had slapped a label of his creation, Rohig Press. He had copyright marks all over this book, at the bottom of pages, stating that he was a copyright owner of my work. He had disclaimers on this book that stated that he was the publisher of my work and that only he could give consent to reproductions of my work. Essentially, while I had been flow writing, building the brand, making connections, creating a channel, putting my faith in him, he was consistently taking steps to make sure that if that book had been printed and handed out to consumers, that he would own it. That's what happened. I signed no contract with this man. None. There is no contract in existence that I have signed that has been notarized or overseen by an international, Canadian, U.S. notary. None. None in existence. That states that he is the publisher of my work. When I saw this test print, it was right before the holidays. I did not give my consent for this print to go into a print run. I sat on it and thought about it for a little bit. I weighed out the options. I spoke to a few of my friends from Philly who work in the field of law. So while I was waiting to hear back from those people, my friends, while I was chewing over the fat of the fact that there was a chapter list that looked disgusting, that there were, single sentence paragraphs with spacing in between them, just formatting issues and errors, while I was chewing over the fact that there was mention of that Star Wars girl, late sister, in there when I had expressly said I want that to be a taboo subject in these volumes, and many other things, like trying to steal my work. I went out one night with my son to have a night with my family. While I was out having a night with my family, Mike began to send me messages because I had not responded to him about the test print, because I was upset about the test print and I wanted to chew on it. I wanted to think about it before I responded to him. These are the messages that he sent me. As you can see, these were all within a few minutes. Just, it looked like a rolling tantrum. This barrage of messages was sent to me while I was out with my son, and I had a chance because I was focusing on my family. Family first. It's the holidays. I'd made it known I was going to be concentrating on my family during these times, and the only time I was not going to be concentrating on hanging out, spending time with my family after months and months and months of busting my ass on a YouTube channel and writing a book for over a year, that it would be if I had gotten the books and that I would start shipping them out. That was the only exception. Customer first in that regard. But family first during the holidays. He didn't seem to understand that. When I had a chance to look at my messages, the last message that I saw was the one I just showed you. Get up with me, LOL, basically. And so that is all I had time to look at. It was just a quick view. So I said back to him, spending time with my kid, and, I'll get up with you later. The first minute he was okay with that, and then that again snowballed into this. I didn't have a chance to look at this until hours later after I was done spending time with my family. Imagine that. And coming home to relax, and then I look at my I look at my DMs, and I got to look at the entire scope of what was sent to me. Read the whole thing from top to bottom. This is after. This is after I had received the test print and realized that there was something wrong here. Did not like the format, did not like what was put in this book, did not like the fact there was copyrights with his name all over it and all that. I'm already upset. So my response to him was this.
Look, man, I'm gonna send this in a message so you don't get this wrong, all right? First off, I ain't fucking you. So don't talk to me like I'm your bitch. All right? Second, because I'm enjoying time with my family, don't try and bring me the fuck down because of what you're going through. I got sympathy for what you're going through, but this is about the third or fourth time you've gone reckless at the mouth with me for no fucking good reason. Fucking calm it. I'm getting tired of your reckless shit. Respect me, motherfucker. Calm down. Whatever the fuck you're smoking, whatever the fuck you're on, get off it. Treat me with respect.
Maybe a little upset, understandably, but that was my response. His response back was this. I took a couple days off, needed to cool down, reassess, check my logic, speak with a couple people, make sure that I'm seeing things correctly. I know that I can be excitable sometimes. So I needed to check my logic. Needed to make sure I was thinking with a clear head. Not but a couple days after this, I received a text message from a friend, a fellow YouTuber, one of the bigger guys, asking me why Mike was sending him threatening legal language. And I told him I didn't know. A few other things were said, and I'm not going to divulge them here. But I basically said that I didn't know. And so I attempted to contact Mike to find out what was going on. I tried to contact him on Twitter, ignored me. So then I tried to call him. When I called him, the phone answered. And I tried to say, hello, are you there? Hello, are you there? He didn't respond, but I heard him talking. So I just listened. I don't know how it happened, but he had answered his phone without realizing it. And he was in the midst of a conversation on a Discord server with 3 people that I know, 2 of them which I've spoken to after this event. And basically, unfiltered to these people, admitting that he is claiming ownership of my work and that he believes, again, all right, that he's being cut out of money. Right? I've already sent $1,750 to this guy, but he believes he's being cut out of money. The reason he believed he was being cut out of money is because, as of right now and for the last several months, which is something that he knew of and other people, I am the head of a creative team for a documentary about Star Wars, about Lucasfilm, that leads into the Fandom Menace and everything that's going on now. I am doing this for another person, another YouTuber, and that this YouTuber is the producer. He is the person who is doing this. This person could contact me and say, Steve, I don't like what you're doing. You're not a part of the project anymore, and I'm gone. That's it. This material is also based on the history of Star Wars and Lucasfilm. So it has nothing to do with the Phantom Menace volumes. The Phantom Menace volumes are about the Phantom Menace, right? And only a part of this documentary is about the Phantom Menace, and we're only talking about the second iteration of the Phantom Menace, not the first one from 1999, the backlash from the Phantom Menace, right? And then that's covered in this documentary. It has nothing to do with my books, but yet Mike, believing that he is the publisher and owner of my work, believed that he was being cut out of money. So he got upset under this false presumption and sent legal threats to another YouTuber that I don't even know if is even involved with the project. But this person was my friend and gave me a heads up. Thank you very much, brother. You know who you are. And so he was explaining that on this Discord server. I listened to him for almost 15 minutes, just jawing away, messaging him on Discord while he was responding to me in one way, and then explaining his response to this other group in a completely other way. I mean, just two-faced. You can't get around it. You were caught. You were caught for 15 minutes, unfiltered, being completely two-faced. I got pissed. So I messaged him on Discord, and I said, "Why you believe you're so smart? Realize that you answer your phone, and I've been listening to you for the last 15 minutes or last 10 minutes. I forgot exactly what I said, but he immediately click, hung up the phone immediately. I then contacted him on Twitter and I said, "You're going to get a hold of me within the next 5 minutes, or you're fired." I wanted him to explain himself. I needed him to explain himself. Here I had paid a person $1,750 to produce something that I did not even want printed in the way that it was, who had slapped copyrights with his name and claims of ownership over my work all over it. And he had thought, this is the rub, he thought that I had already approved the test print and that there was a pallet of these books sitting at the printer waiting for me to pick them up so that I could ship them to backers. He thought he had won. He thought the books were already printed. He thought I was a dumbass. He thought these books were already going to be sent that had already been printed and would already be sent to customers, and then bam, bam, through shady means, he thought he owned my work. He thought he had gotten away with it, and that's why he was being such an ass about it. But no, I never approved it, because I saw what you were trying to do. I saw what he was trying to do. So I sent him a formal email after those 5 minutes, because I told him, you have 5 minutes or you're fired, and he didn't believe me. As a matter of fact, he said I was acting crazy. I was acting crazy. I was acting crazy because I had paid a person money to perform services to which he performed poorly, and an attempt the entire time to steal my property. I was acting crazy. So I sent him an email, and then this was the correspondence between us. I didn't talk to him for several days. I got some advice from other people, but during this time, people were coming to me with stories about Mike. People were coming to me with stories about him begging them for money or shaming them into promoting me or something. I mean, he belonged to a group chat, which is pretty well known within the Fandom Collective, Fandom Menace community. It's one that we all use to kind of network and help promote each other and discuss things. And he had been allowed into it. And then several months ago, I got a phone call just like the one I explained earlier, from another YouTuber asking me why Mike was in this chat shaming everyone because they weren't promoting me. Didn't ask him to do that. And then I told this YouTuber, I said, just cut him out of the chat, take him out of the chat. And then I had to apologize to this community of like 50 people for someone else coming in and shaming them, trying to shame them for not promoting me. As I said before, I've never been expectant of anyone. Whoever offers me to come on their live streams or talk with them or be involved in anything, I'm appreciative of that. Consider them friends, colleagues, fellow creators. I'm not expectant of anything from anyone. But I had to have him removed. I had to ask this YouTuber to remove him from this chat. So getting contacted by the other YouTuber about him being sent legal threats, that just mirrored that action previously. I didn't speak to him for several days. I really had no plan to. The advice I'd gotten from some other creators, one or two other creators, was just cite creative differences and leave it at that. And I tried to do that. I wasn't trying to sully anyone's reputation, even though I had been blatantly screwed, or an attempt to be screwed. And I didn't want to bring drama. I don't like drama. I don't like causing drama. I didn't want to bring drama to the community, even though this was happening to me. Then I was sent another email from Mike. And in this email, Mike not only openly claims that he is the owner of my property, that I cannot publish my own property, but he wants he wants the details of my GoFundMe, of my Indiegogo, of my personal expenditures for the last 6 months, and that of my roommate, my my partner, my consort, my companion. Truth be told, I live with a woman. It started out as a romantic relationship. It is no longer really a romantic relationship. It's a companionship. Not that it's really anybody's business, but it's more than a friendship, but it's not a romantic relationship. You know, it's just she's a good person. We're good to each other. We trust each other. We have faith in each other. I help her with her kids. She helps me with mine. And it is what it is. But she has nothing at all to do with this book or with anything involved with this book. But he's demanding to know all of our expenditures for the last 6 months while claiming ownership over my work, and then trying to tell me that I am giving our independent communities a bad name. Yeah. To which I responded to him with this. One hour later, I got this email. So the printer said he could no longer work with me because of the events of the last few weeks. Now, I don't have any proof of any kind of interference or harassment. He didn't send me any copies of emails or correspondence that he would have gotten from Mike. I had contacted this printer when I fired Mike to let him know that Mike was no longer a part of the project, and I had sent him an updated PDF that I had cobbled together from the crap that had been thrown together by Mike that he had been paid for. Yeah, so no printer, right? Now, I'm not telling anyone what they should or shouldn't do. I'm just stating the facts of the matter. This is what's happened. This is where I'm at. I've shown you some of the proof. I have more, but it would just be overkill, in my opinion. If you're an independent creator, no matter what kind of independent creator, be wary. Always take steps to protect your work. your creation. Because what I try and do in life is learn lessons from my mistakes, from my victories and my losses, for my achievements and the things I've done wrong. And through this introspection, I've realized that, there could be people who say that they support independent works, that they support the Fandom Menace, that they support Comicsgate, that they support these ideals that in reality do not. And you got to look out for those people. You have to protect your work every step of the way. Don't let someone create a bond of trust with you while they are trying to steal what you've created, what you've done, your achievements, your love and your passion. Because this can happen to anybody. Fortunately for me, I caught it early enough. So, the Fandom Menace Volume One, first edition, for my backers, will be completed. It will have the extra chapter involved in it. That will be a chapter that will come in a later volume. It will also never be reproduced to protect your investment. You are truly be getting one of only 204, maybe 210 copies of this book that will ever be in existence. All right? That is my promise to you. That's my apology for coming late. That's my apology for making mistakes, trusting the wrong people. And I hope that that meets with your approval. And as I said, if you send me your backer number and your name, I will send you a PDF of the second edition, a rough cut of the second edition, which has all the material in it that you're going to be receiving without that extra chapter. And I will send that to you so that you can read it at your leisure while you wait for the paperback. That will never be reproduced again. It will be, one of 210 possibly. And there's another reason that I'm doing that, and that is because, before I get into that, I want to thank Stories by Irish, who has been a wonderful helper, who's given me some information and insight, who has helped me. Please check out her channel. I thank you, Stories. The information you helped pass along to me helped me out and saved my work. And I can't thank you enough. Because of this, I have published the ebook of the Fandom Menace Volume One, A Fandom Betrayed. It is all into itself an ebook. It is a complete. It is not a first or second or third edition or any of that. It is just simply the ebook of the Fandom Menace Volume One. It is available on Amazon. You go check it out. I will leave a link in the description below where you can purchase the ebook of the Fandom Menace Volume 1. And so there it is. I had originally wanted to hold that material until I ran the Indiegogo for Volume 2. I'm not sure how I'm going to proceed at this point with everything. I do have the Fandom Menace Volume 2 and 3, and I have all that material. I've got 30 chapters of material. I've got a lot of material. But I'm going to be reworking them as I go, and I'm going to be doing it by myself because at this point, I'm not trusting anyone with it. This is me now. I will take care of it. What I should have done in the first place, I should have believed in myself. I shouldn't have felt the need to get together with an editor or pay an editor. I should have never done that. So I'm going to do it all my damn self because it's my work. I own my work, and I'm going to produce my work. So please go and check that out. If you didn't have a chance to buy the first edition of the Fandom Menace Volume 1, you can buy it in ebooks. It will not, the second edition of the Fandom Menace Volume 1 will not be available. No paperbacks, no hardbacks, no none of it. Until every backer for the Fandom Menace Volume 1 first edition has been sent their book. That's something I feel I have to do, given the scope of everything that has happened thus far. And that's the best, that's the absolute best I can do. These are steps that I couldn't avoid taking. These are things that I had to do in order to secure my work, in order to protect, imagine that, in order to protect my own work from being claimed by someone else, from being stolen. Paid $1,750 for someone to give me a shoddy representation of what I was trying to give and steal it to boot. So I'm not telling anyone out there what you should or shouldn't do, who you should or shouldn't employ, or you shouldn't or shouldn't associate with. This is the information. This is what happened to me, and you do with that information as you will. I felt that not having this full conversation and explanation of what went on, it would be dishonest to anyone out there who may be looking for, or any writers out there who might be looking for someone to help with their work and run into a similar scenario. I want to protect you. I want you to know that this can happen to you. It's awful, but I mean, this is the world we live in, man. This is the world we live in. Some people don't want day jobs. They just want to rob you. I don't understand it. That's just what it is. Hail to the Fandom Menace. The next few volumes will be a lot smoother. I can promise you that, because I'm going to be the only one doing it. Hail to you guys. Thank you to all my backers. Thank you to everyone who's lent me help and experience over these last few weeks. Your support has meant a lot. Take care.